Hello, hello. About to start a run in just a minute here. It's getting my seed ready off stream, so check here. It should be. We'll walk to the left 14 steps here. Get an encounter. No, okay. Well, that would suggest that I didn't do it right. And it was like 34. Let me just check something here. Okay, it should be, I think that's right then. I think it would be 14 if I was on the right seed, but it's 33 before reset. So now all I have to do is not touch the controller for a minute. Scene here play out, and then I can start the run. So I'm going to be running this category at Frost Fatales in a couple of months. So I'm got some time between now and then, but trying to get better at the run between now and then. I definitely like to get my PB under an hour and 30, at the very least, and get more confident with step route. I want to be able to show off a proper step route at the marathon, and I just want to get better at this in general, because it's a fun run, I like doing it, and if I can get good at the step route for this seed, I can start working on the no sketch run, which you really need to be on step route for it to work with the current route. It's like if you go off step route at all in the no sketch, you're basically dead run. So I am using turbo. I think most Final Fantasy VI runners these days use turbo. You're allowed to. And it's a lot easier. So I'm going to be doing that. So normally you press new game and this cutscene here plays. But you can play the cutscene before you start a new game, and then the cutscene doesn't play, like, during the game, so that way you can start your run on selecting new game, and this isn't counted toward time, so that's the way we always start this run. This credit scene here is super cool. I think it holds up really nicely, even with the graphics being a bit dated. But we don't have to watch it, so let's just keep moving. Alright, so here's new game. So, start the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. And hopefully I set things up right. This will be pretty good. So, we need to do some menuing. Speed 6, message speed 1, memory. We have to fight in this battle. Bioblast, and Wedge and Vix are going to run away. And that's how we're going to do all these fights here at the beginning. Wedge and Vix are temporary party members, so we don't care about letting them get levels. If they run away, then Terra gets all the experience, and that's way better, because her experience is very important. So we walked a little bit to the right there. That allowed us to skip the second encounter. But this one is also mandatory. Fire Beam that, and Fire Beam Lobo, and then we can Bioblast over here. So I'm gonna kind of run every time there's an animation. And Wedge and Vic should run away right here. Every once in a while, I'll screw things up or just get like bad RNG and one of them won't run away. And it's real bad when they don't run away. It's like reset your run bad. Like if you're in a marathon setting and that happens, you can do things to work around the experience. It's ugly. So hopefully Wedge and Vix will be running away right here. Go, go, go. Alright. Wonderful. Okay, so if I'm on the right seed, then I won't get any encounters in the mine shaft here, except for the boss at the end. So this is where random encounters start in this game. But based on the seed, I shouldn't get any. I shouldn't get any at all. Okay. That means we're probably on the right seed then. So we're going to do the Welk fight here. I'm a little rusty with the Welk fight, and the Welk fight's a little difficult. I can try to get the quick kill here, but I might not get it. So we'll kind of see where everybody's meter is. It can be easier or harder depending on where the meter is. I think I might have hesitated a little too much there. So I'm not going to go for it. I think if I go for it, I'm going to get a price. Yeah. So we'll just wait for the head to pop out. It's going to take a minute since we're on Battle Speed 6. But it's still good to be on Battle Speed 6. You get more attacks in that way. Okay, so a little bit slow, but I don't know, you maybe lose 20, 30 seconds if you don't get the quick kill. Not exactly sure. Okay, so I shouldn't get any encounters in here either. Didn't, so that's awesome. So at least the first part of the seeding worked. So this next little bit, we can just set our turbo and not really have to do too much. So we have 3 party members at the beginning here. We have Terra, Wedge, and Vix. Terra is a permanent party member. The other 2 are temporary, and they're actually getting killed off right here. They are still resident in memory for the time being, so there's 16 party slots in this game. Terra is number 1. Vix and Wedge are, or Wedge and Vix are 15 and 16 respectively. That's not super important, but just something I'm kind of interested in, and the fact that characters remain in memory after they leave your party and can get overwritten by other party members is kind of relevant for some things that'll happen later in this run. So we name Terra, we reduce her name down to just a single character, because you have to have 1 letter in the name, but every letter kind of gets drawn out individually during dialogue, so it makes it a little bit faster to have a single character name rather than the full 5 letters. It doesn't make it a lot faster, it's, it just saves a few frames. I can't remember if that's where that encounter is supposed to be or not. If I go a little bit off my step route in the early going here, I think that's fine. I'll know for sure once I get to the end of this segment here. Because it should be right at the end. I should get an encounter that brings Terra up to level 6. This definitely looks to me like I'm on the right seed. I'm just not sure if I'm on the right step here. Like, I might have taken an extra step somewhere. Yeah, I'm a little rusty with step route in this area. I feel like I took, like, a couple extra steps somewhere. That's fine, like, I can keep going, and it doesn't affect too much. Yeah. I believe as long as you're on the right seed, then Elite River should still go okay. Even if it doesn't. Like, you don't really need to be on step route for this, for the Kefka at Narshe run. It saves you a little bit of time, but it's not essential. But I am trying to get better at it. So as I said earlier, your first 3 characters are in the 1st, 15th, and 16th slots. So at this point, Kefka technically joins your party and is technically added in the 16th slot. He's never actually, like, properly in your party, but some of the cutscenes like that where he shows up, they add him to your party because I guess that just made it easier to to draw some of those battle cutscenes. So that's part of the reason that Kefka sometimes shows up as a sprite in battle rather than like the bigger, like hand-drawn enemy sprite. Like he appears as a little map sprite instead. So here's Locke. He's a treasure hunter. Don't call him a thief. He's definitely not a thief. Definitely doesn't steal things. We just kind of speed through some dialogue here. Locke is party member number 2, so he's in character slot number 2. And these Moogles who will be helping us out are... they go into slots 3 through 13. So that's kind of a trick that the game does early on. It has all these temporary party members who kind of get stored in memory early on, and later on they get overwritten by permanent characters. Because the game's memory only has room for 16. So that was how they did it back then. But it is possible to do sequence breaking. And if you sequence break at the right times, then you can get things like one of these Moogles showing up, kind of standing in for one of your party members. You know, if that party member didn't get named at the right time. Hey, Plagle, thanks for the good luck. Good to see you. So one of the Moogles got stopped. Kutan got stopped. So that'll make things a little tricky here, just because I'll have to improvise a little bit. We'll just attack the monster that's up front. And so we only have one left, so we can just hold A for the rest of the fight. Yeah, so that fight is the only time you'll see all those Moogles, except Kutan is actually going to be showing up later. Mog is sort of showing up later, but it won't really be the same Mog. I talk a lot about the Moogles during this run because Moogles are absolutely wonderful. More video games should have Moogles. So now we're going to have Locke and Terra as our party. And we're going to head down to Figaro Castle and get Edgar. Because we leveled up Terra a little bit in the beginning, that'll help with everybody else's level. They sort of get averaged. I think Locke is like Terra's level +1 or something like that. Yeah, I'm definitely on the right seed, but I think I took extra steps somewhere. I don't know how I did that, but I just have to go back and look at the VOD or something. Because I'm getting the right encounters, but they're, like, a little bit off. But this is, you know, this is fine. This is still going pretty well. Missed a split, that's okay. So you'd think Edgar would be the third character, but he's actually 5 or 6. You know, I don't know why they ordered the characters the way they did. You know, it might be that they had originally intended for you to meet people in a different order, or maybe it was just the order that they, like, actually designed the characters and, like, added them to the game, and, you know, they might have created the middle of the game before the beginning of it, that sort of thing. And we'll also name Sabin here. So Sabin gets named here, but his stats don't get set until he actually joins our party. So the game hasn't determined, like, what level he is, and that's an important thing to keep in mind in terms of experience routing. Like, if you gain experience between now and Mount Colts, then, you know, that can cause Sabin to join your party at a higher level. My god, that's Kefka's music! So Kefka's job is to just show up throughout the game and be as cartoonishly evil as possible. He's kind of presented. He's presented almost as a comic relief villain beginning, and then as the game goes on, he just kind of gradually becomes, like, more and more of a threat. Just, like, more and more evil. You know, for a Nintendo game, for a game that, you know, is marketed toward kids, like, Kefka racks up a pretty serious body count in this game. So we're supposed to follow Locke, but we can run ahead of him, but you go through the door and then he's ahead of you magically. I guess that's, you know, thief magic or whatever. So we just go over here and we talk to him. That just sets off another cutscene. He talks to us about, you know, the ongoing war in the game between the Empire and the Returners and everybody else. Just kind of setting up the first half of the game. And then Edgar's going to wake up to find that his entire castle is on fire. And of course it's Kefka's doing, because that is the sort of thing that Kefka's does. As we said, he is cartoonishly evil. So we don't have to actually talk to him here. We can just run up and talk to this person. And we can just kind of just leave. You know, the castle's on fire, but we don't have to do anything about it. We can just peace out right here. And it's totally fine because the castle is just going to bury itself in the sand here. And that deals with the fire. I guess the sand, like, smothers the fire or something. You don't have to think about it too hard. But either way, this is a really cool scene. Kind of establishes King Edgar and the Kingdom of Figaro, just like very cool little thing here, I think. And we fight a couple of Magitech soldiers. This fight has boss music, but is kind of trivial. The main purpose of this fight really is for Edgar and Locke to discover that Terra can use magic. There's a whole cutscene for that, but we don't want to watch the cutscene, so we just don't have her use magic. Just use the auto crossbow twice, and fight's over. So we do get a few more lines of dialogue here, and then we get to ride a chocobo. Son of a submariner! They'll pay for this! Yes, that was a bad person. So a lot of this game is kind of just Terra dealing with her emotions and understanding herself. And, you know, I think it's pretty cool. It was actually, like, pretty good character depth for the time. You know, I mean, not just for the time. Like, Terra's definitely an interesting character, I think. But I think this game kind of stands out to me. You know, with the ensemble cast and, you know, with the fact that you're kind of protagonist, or at least the first character you meet is a woman, which you didn't see a lot of in this era of gaming. Yeah, I think I continue to be, my step route continues to be like 2 tiles off. I don't know, like, of a way to correct that, really. Because we're not taking extra steps. But again, it's fine. Like, it's not really causing us any problems here. Yeah, like, I think that... like, this is the battle I'm supposed to see. I'm I'm just not sure I'm encountering it on the tile I normally expect to. But, like, it hasn't gotten me into an extra fight. So... here's where I'll need to see if I have the right amount of money. I should, since I'm on seed, yeah. It is possible to show up here with, like, not enough money to buy sprint shoes, or you have enough to buy sprint shoes, but then not enough to ride a chocobo. And you definitely need 3 pairs of sprint shoes. And if you don't have the chocobo, it would definitely throw off your step route. And it would definitely slow things down a little bit. And I don't really follow step route in Mount Colts at this point anyway, though, so I'm not super concerned about that. We're going to be resetting soon after this, and from what I can tell, resetting at the Returner's Hideout seems to, like, reset where your step counter would be. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it seems to be the case from my experience so far. So, just the impression I get is that your steps can be a little bit off in Mount Colts, and it kind of gets fixed later. I should have equipped the Atlas armlet here. But it's fine. Didn't, like, roll low damage or anything. But I'll do it here. So Edgar, Atlas armlet, just increases the damage a little bit. We do need to take some fights on this mountain for leveling, because, as I said, we want Edgar and Sabin to be certain levels in particular, and so Sabin's level will be determined by the party average level. So, long story short, we take about half of the fights on the mountain. We don't fight these brawlers. They're kind of tough and they don't give great experience. But then most of these outdoor fights we'll be taking. Because a lot of these fights we can just take out with one hit from auto crossbow, or like some of them auto crossbow and one cast of fire from Terra, and they give pretty good experience, so it's enough to get everybody's level where we need it to be. Auto crossbow is almost always enough to take these out if you have the Atlas armlet equipped. If you don't have the armlet equipped, you can come up short. So, lock gained a level. I don't know, I had him attack supposed to have him attack after the auto crossbow, just in case that happens. But if I take all these fights, it should be enough experience. Edgar gained a level. That should be what we're looking for here. I think maybe we take this fight, but not the one after it. Yeah, okay, Terra gains a level, and then the next fight will be 2 Trilliums, and we can run away from it. So that's the advantage to being on the seed. Like, you know exactly which fights you're going to take and what to do in terms of experience. Block up to the front for damage. I don't know that it actually matters that much. We're mainly looking for Edgar and Terra to do all the damage here. Maybe should have thrown Cure. I didn't really check like HP at all going into this fight. I'm just gonna use Cure. Probably could have just gone with fire. Probably better that way. Yeah, could have just gone with fire. Oh well, that's fine. I might lose a little bit of time here. Pretty close. Skipped Doomfist, so that's nice. So yeah, here we meet up with Edgar's brother Sabin, and he decides to come along with us, join the Returners, fight against the evil Empire. Sabin is super cool. You're seeing why a little bit later here. He's basically like a fighter, wrestler type character. He's named, in the Japanese version, he's named Mash. Because you have to like input a fighting game style combination to do his, like, fighting moves. We're going to talk to Bannon here. Bannon is yet another temporary party member. If I remember correctly, Bannon actually replaces Wedge on the character sheet, so he's like number 15, which is a common... character slot 15 is used for a number of temporary party members. So, like, it starts out as Wedge, then it's Bannon, then it's Madeline, and then finally General Leo. So that means General Leo is kind of stored in the game's memory for the entire rest of the game, which is kind of funny to think about, like, you know, sort of like the memory of General Leo is with you for the whole game. This NPC here is a bit of a troll. You gotta kind of maneuver around him. Have to make sure to say no to Bannon 3 times here, so that we get the Genji glove. If we don't, we get the gauntlet, which is much worse. The Genji glove isn't super important, but we use it. We put it on Edgar for damage purposes, so that he can dual wield the Mithril Pike and the Mithril Blade. And that'll be very useful for the Ultros fight and the Kefka and Narshe fight. So we get to do a safety save here, because we actually need to save and reset for seed purposes for the Elite River that's coming up. Okay, so we want them in the back row, and sprint shoes on Sabin for later, Genji glove, and that should be it. And I need to take steps in a certain way as soon as I load this file. Okay. If I did that right, I'll only get 2 encounters on the Elite River here. So the first 2 encounters are mandatory. You can run from them, but they always trigger no matter what seed you're on. Hey, thanks, Elia. So this encounter we get no matter what, and then we'll get an encounter after this, which, if I'm on the right seed and everything, should be 2 pterodons. Yep, that looks good. We will fight this to level up Edgar. And we'll use the runaway trick that we used used earlier on. So them run away. And then when Edgar comes up, we'll use the auto crossbow again. So you have to fight these first two battles, but if I did the seeding and step routing and everything, I shouldn't get any other random encounters the rest of the way. It's entirely possible that I did something wrong and I get the encounters anyway. But so far, we're doing okay. Go left here, we'll get another save point. I'll do a little bit of menuing here. Just heal up. And I can do a safety save here. You don't need to, but like when I'm at the marathon, I'm sure I'll do a save there. Alright, it's time to tease the octopus. So, a lot of people use a strat where you have Bannon up front and you attack with him. I haven't been able to master that strat, so I'm just having him use health every turn. The other characters are primarily doing the damage here. Definitely worth safety saving for this. If you're like not going for world record. 'Cause it's definitely a fight where RNG can bite you. So Sabin just kind of dives into the water and tries to blitz the octopus and gets carried off in the rapids. We love Sabin. So we can have Shadow join here. You're not actually required to recruit Shadow, but he gives you a little bit more damage, and I totally just wasn't paying attention to my step route there. So I may have walked over the wrong threat tiles here. Yeah. So you're supposed to walk in a certain pattern so that you get this fight like 2 steps later, and instead of getting this fight, you get a much easier fight. So, yeah, I screwed up there. But this is why we practice, so hopefully I can make these mistakes today and not make them at Frost Fatales. Once again, I forgot to split. It's fine. So this cutscene introduces Cayenne. So Cayenne is kind of known as one of the worst characters in this game. Because he's slow and his sword tech ability is very slow. But he is useful in the early game, and that's kind of all that we care about for this run in particular. So here we'll use the retort. We're not using the retort glitch, we're just using retort normally. Later on we'll see where we can glitch out that ability and use the glitch to our advantage. But even though he's slow, he's just kind of a good damage dealer early on in the run. And his sword tech ability is slow, but the dispatch ability isn't slow, like you can use it right away. And early on it's actually pretty useful. So for the Kefka Narshe run, Cayenne is actually one of our better damage dealers. You know, he's pretty reliable. His weapon's pretty strong for this part of the game. He doesn't kind of get bad until later. And even then, like, you know, I say bad, but like this is a game where even the bad characters are viable. Like you could take the 4 worst characters through the entire game and not really have any problems. It's not a super difficult game. Like, I would say Final Fantasy V is far more difficult than 6. So Kefka, we kind of overhear him and his plans to poison the dome and water supply. And we try to stop him, but, you know, of course, we're not going to be able to. The game is scripted so that we cannot possibly catch up with Kefka in time. He has, you know, people to throw in front of us, basically. It's rare that you actually see Kefka get his attack in. It's interesting. So we want to put battle speed back down to 6. this is what I meant to do. Imperial, the ninja gear on Sabin, and we want to move him up front. There we go. So we fight the soldiers up front, and we'll use our abilities against these Templars. So we throw an air lancet at them. Don't really need that air lancet. And it kind of just takes up inventory space. So Kefka poisons the water supply, it turns the water pink, and instantly kills, like, basically everybody in Doma except for Cayenne. So this is kind of all just setting up Cayenne's character, who is basically spends the whole game being vengeful against the Empire and just like sad about losing family members. And we have a really sad scene here where Cayenne meets sees his wife and son here, but don't worry about them too much. You'll see them later on. They'll be totally fine. Don't worry about it. So we get a few fights here with Cayenne that are pretty basically trivial. Basically, we can just kind of hold A and fight everything. These grunts are just like complete pushovers. They don't hit very hard. They die in one hit. It's really just kind of... These are really just kind of fights to introduce Cayenne to the party. You know, they're fights for storytelling and not fights for challenge, in other words. And this next fight will be slightly more meaty, but not really. And I did an incorrect Blitzen input. Yeah, Interceptor! Let's go! Doggo coming in clutch! So we have a little scene here where we learn that Cayenne cannot use machinery to save his life. But it's okay because I guess he just kind of mashes buttons and it's good enough. So we get a few more fights here with Magitech, like Magitech versus Magitech, basically. But these fights aren't challenging in the slightest. Just hold A, fire beam everything, and I do kind of wish that these fights were a little more substantial here. I don't mind fights where you just kind of attack. I think it's good for RPGs to have some less intense combat here and there, where you kind of just, you know, it's kind of okay to just let the party win a freebie here and there, but I feel like this should at least, like, build up to a mini-boss or something, where you have to use a little bit of strategy, or there's a little bit of threat, but there just kind of isn't. Although I guess that's kind of good in a way, because you wouldn't want to die in that segment and then have to do all of the cutscenes in that area over again. Like, that would be really rough, I think. So, probably for the best that you don't have that. I don't actually remember what any of the steps are here, and I've lost my step route anyway, so it's fine. Get a recovery spring here. I think everybody was in pretty good condition anyway, but so we get to run from all these fights unless we get pincered. If we do get a pincer attack, then we can throw a potion at one of those ghosts, and it deals a pretty good amount of damage to them. So if you see a strange, beat-up train in the middle of the forest, best thing to do is definitely to just hop on it. Like, trains are always good. You know, no matter where they're going, it's, nothing can go wrong. It's definitely not, like, the Phantom train, like, leading everybody to the afterlife. You know, trains are super cool. Even if they're haunted, you know, it doesn't matter. If there's a train, I want to be on it. Don't you? Please run. I don't know, that drain animation just felt like it took minutes of my life away. I think we normally take a couple extra steps here, so it's possible that I've put myself back on step route here, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to actually go back and study the route a little bit, because I don't remember it exactly. So we need to get in this car, talk to this ghost that says no escape, and immediately escape from it. So there's a cutscene on this car where you suddenly get surrounded by all these ghosts telling you there's no escape. It's very creepy and scary and stuff, I guess. Get some funny animations from Sabin there. And they're like, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So Sabin... I love Sabin. Sabin's just going to use all of his, like, mountain man training here, and he's just gonna jump to the next car, and jump to the next car. You know, like you do. I have said before that physics, in particular gravity, are at most a suggestion in Final Fantasy games. And we'll really be seeing that in a few minutes here at the end of this, at the end of the train. Or the front of the train, I should say. Might be good to heal up Cayenne just for safety. Nope, not going in that way. This way? Yeah. Need those earrings in a little bit. So, in a marathon setting, I would go in that car right there and do a safety save. And I would lose my step route, but that's okay. Because it is possible here to not be able to suplex the train. So what can happen is Phantom Train can use Evil Toot or something like that, and like Sabin can get muddled, and it's possible the suplex fails for reasons. Just suplex it for fun. Marathon incentives if they decide to take that. You don't actually have to suplex the train, but it doesn't cost us that much time, so we can do it. So we'll get a little bit of a cutscene here with Cayenne's wife and son getting on the train here, and he's really upset about them getting on the train, but I don't know why. Like I said, like, trains are the place to be. Like, I don't know why they all want to get off the train. Like, just stay on the train. I'm not seeing the problem. So we'll get a little bit of free menuing here in a minute here. So we'll have this bit of dialogue here. Where, Cayenne's talking to his wife and his kid. And Cayenne's just gonna kind of be sad after that, and you just have to wait, like, about a minute. So, like, we'll have control of Sabin, but we'll have to just kind of let a certain amount of time elapse. And during that time, we can do a little bit of menuing. So we'll take advantage of that downtime here. So we place the sprint shoes with the True Knight and the earrings. And we just, yeah. And then we'll menu again here to unequip some stuff from Cayenne. So we want Cayenne to have no armor on, because basically Cayenne's going to get KO'd and then revived. And that's going to allow us to take advantage of the retort glitch here. And the retort glitch is going to allow us to skip a whole bunch of battles. If I do it right, which is not guaranteed. Okay. I totally don't remember how to do this fight at all. I was supposed to attack Cayenne first. This is fine, but... yeah, that actually worked out perfectly. Alright, so I killed off Cayenne. I need to revive him. Phoenix down. And then he needs to use retort. And then Sabin needs to use suplex, which will not work. So retort. Lie down, up. Suplex. Alright, suplex is going to miss, and then Cayenne is going to counterattack it. Retort. It's going to take out that piranha, and it's going to end the fight. That fight's not supposed to end like that. There's supposed to be a script, but Cayenne using retort, like, overrides the script. So the seed that we're on generally gives us a favorable belt. I think if I was actually doing step route properly at this point, it would make things a little better. Because, like, I think this fight is the one that I'm supposed to get coming out of the town. But even if I'm off a little bit, this is still fine. So we need to buy that dried meat. The thing I don't remember is... So I don't remember if I need to run from the next fight here. Like, these Tuskers... I'm not sure if Gosh shows up after this fight. If he doesn't, then we should just run from it. But since I don't remember the exact formations here, we're just gonna see what happens. Okay, yeah, he does, so this is perfect. So we just throw some meat at him, and he loves us forever. So this whole cutscene here happens. Gaul has a whole... You know, he has a whole interesting mechanic where he learns attacks from monsters on the belt, and you don't have direct control over him, so he's kind of like a blue mage, but kind of not. Kind of just does his own thing. It kind of makes him not very good, just because, you know, his attacks are powerful, but you don't control them, so the best you can do is, like, use rages of his that are favorable for the fight. You know, that'll, like, hit the right elements and everything, but, like, you can't have him, you know, throw a cure potion when you need to, or things like that, so it makes him overall kind of one of the worst characters, but he is still powerful. Like, you can definitely still use him. Also, when you get magic later, you can just have him use magic, so you can kind of get around the whole rage mechanic that way. I'm not the biggest Gaw fan personally, but he is very important for speedruns. Some of his rages are very powerful without, like, needing to grind or get special equipment. And also there is a glitch that is used in No Sketch that you need him for. So there's a glitch where you can basically glitch out the game's camera if he is leading the party, and it allows you to do some really interesting sequence breaking. It's also, like, very finicky and hard to control, so it's not good for marathons at all. I really need to work on this section because I don't actually remember exactly where the cave is. Yeah, it's over here. I just went too far to the left. Common problem for me. So I just need to work on, like, this specific section, and suddenly I'll save a bunch of time on my runs. So, like, note to self, practice this part of the run. So... as far as I can remember, all I need to remember for this is... first time the arrows appear, we go right. The second time, we go left. Also, if we see a single angle form, we want to use Aura Bolt. If we get a pincer attack like this, then we just kind of throw all our best attacks and get through it. This fight is, like, most of these fights aren't too bad. I say as I get gigavolted. Okay, then. Wow. Alright, then. Today I learned. I don't have any Phoenix Downs left. Help! Right, so... left. And just, yeah, hope I don't get in another pincer attack. Run. Run! Please? Why are you so slow? Two angle forms should be, like, not that big a deal, but please run faster. Ugh. No! Oh my god. Oof. Yeah. Just made it. So I think we're fine. Like... that's the end of this scenario, so... just get to buy a bunch of smoke bombs here. And... for this category... like... we're good. Yeah. Sabin's scenario was pretty rough, though. I need to go back and work on that one. But... you know, good learning experience. It's helpful to be able to come away from a practice run knowing, like, okay, this is where we had trouble. Okay, okay, we got it second time. So that, yeah, there's a glitch there where if you open the menu at just the right time, you can kind of pass through that soldier, and, you know, you're not supposed to be able to leave the town that easily, but by doing that, we do a little bit of a sequence break. We don't have to go through the whole thing where we buy we get cider, and we disguise ourselves as a merchant, and we disguise ourselves as a soldier, and we find Celis in the basement. We skip all of that. So the kind of consequence of that is we never get Celis. She's never named, she's never added into memory in the game. So it's like she doesn't exist. It's like she never gets created. So when she's supposed to show up in this dungeon, she's not there. Fortunately, this doesn't cause the game to crash. But it does... It makes things interesting. You see in that dialogue there, Kutan got Celis's line. So, since Celis was never created, it just... like, the character slot that Celis is supposed to go in memory, she normally would replace Kutan in memory. But since we don't get her, Kutan is still there. So she gets replaced by a Moogle, or more specifically, the Moogle never replaces her. So after Vanon's scenario finishes out here, she'll just be a Moogle. You know, there'll be a cutscene where Celis is supposed to show up, and Kutan the Moogle will show up instead. But for this run, we don't really care, because we don't really need Celis. She's kind of nice to have for the Kefka at Narshe fight, because she can use Runic, which is very useful against Kefka. It protects you against some powerful spells like Ice 2. But you don't need it. It's not required. So Banon's scenario is pretty trivial. So for these fights here, we can use smoke bombs. Smoke bombs are a little bit safer than just running. For this here, we don't have to go the whole way that star goes there. We can do half of the route and then take a shortcut. So right here, we just hold A and run up, and we get to skip the second half of the maze. And we can just use smoke bombs. These fights aren't threatening at all, but I might save a couple of seconds to use the smoke bomb. We get to go through this part again. There are no random encounters in here, or in here where the Moogles hang out. We get the rune edge. Just put it there. It's faster to equip it in like a battle menu, so I don't know why I didn't do that. And the rune edge is just going to give Edgar a little bit more attack power for the Kefka fight. It's literally the only reason for it. I wonder if it's faster to just run away when you get a preemptive. I don't know what happened to my splits. It's fine. Just let Vanon's scenario finish here. And again, I lost probably a substantial amount of time wandering around the belt because I haven't spent enough time on that particular section. But other than that, this run went pretty well. So that just leaves the final showdown with Kefka here. So the things I have to worry about with Kefka are it's possible to move incorrectly and get in an extra fight. It's especially bad if that fight ends up being the one with the rider. And then once we actually get to the Kefka fight, Kefka can just use Ice 2 and completely annihilate your party. So we hope that doesn't happen. I will do a safety save before the Kefka fight just to be able to finish this out. Because I know I'm not going to PB because my last split was 2 minutes over. So this is going to end up being like, you know, if all goes well, this will be like a 133. So, feel pretty good about this as a derust. But I want to work at this more. Like I said, definitely think getting under an hour and a half is very much attainable for me. So I just have to save a little over a minute to do that, and you know, I know the time save for that is there, and then some. You know, I think world record for Kefka at Narshe is, I think it's officially an hour and 20, and it's entirely possible that somebody's done it faster and just never like submitted it to the leaderboard. So you see here Kutan is taking the place of Celis in some cutscenes, which is always fun. So we've got our party set up here for Kefka and Narshe fight. So we get 3 parties. You know, we kind of divide up into 3 groups, and the enemy has Kefka plus 10 groups. So we're outnumbered, but it's fine because we're just going to let all these guys just kind of walk past us. So there is a new strategy where you kind of go to the south and you get past those soldiers a little bit faster. Damn! Ugh. Might turn out to be a good thing that I did that safety save. And do I have a Phoenix down here? Of course I don't. Sure, I'll try it, but like, I have no idea how viable this fight is with no Edgar. Wow. That is incredible. Well, I guess we get to just hold A and hope for the best here. Put turbo on so I don't even have to hold A. Yeah. Not looking good here. Alright, so just let Bannon get captured here. So that's a little bit faster than doing a proper reset. Yeah, so we can just go right back into it here. Alright, so instead of a 133 and change, this is going to be like a 136. that's why you save there. It's very good that that save point is in that spot in particular. Because even if you don't get caught by the rider, Kefka can absolutely do that to you. This time we actually have, like, a proper chance. You can see there, Edgar is kind of our main damage dealer. Ugh. I think we just have to hold up. Hope Edgar holds out for a few turns. This is not a very long fight, so I think it's fine to just hope that he survives. Cayenne going down as well. Told you it wasn't a fast fight. Wasn't a very long fight. That's time. We just get to watch the rider kind of awkwardly walk back and forth behind us. I think that's going to be it for today. I would like to do a stream of this with, you know, where I get a couple of Kefka Narshe runs in, but I think I'm going to do a little bit more practice offline to focus on, like, specific spots in the run, like particularly getting the Velt down better than I did here. And, you know, I can kind of compare it to what other runners are doing, and that'll be good for me. Let me see here. Anybody I'd like to raid? All right. Raid Bridget. All right. Thanks for watching.